Scutter, I want to thank you for putting up that video. Pretty interesting. I do agree with you. It's pretty crazy to actually hear that churches are walking around with signs saying God hates fags. That's crazy. They might as well make up signs and say everything else that God hates. Definitely not a good way or a good witness. It just don't make any sense, and this is really why I'm not part of any particular church. Most of the church organizations, and people on the outside know this, there's a lot of hypocrisy that goes on behind the scenes. Really what the church is us. It's people that believe in God, believe in His Son that He sent, and read the Bible and adhere to it. That comes in many different fashions. We actually do Bible studies almost nightly, and we're lucky to have some good friends that we could do that with. So we consider that church. But yeah, it's crazy, the stuff that's going on today. But I appreciate you posting this video. With this being said, I'd like to look at the church. The church in Greek is ekklesia, where we get the English word ecclesiastes. The definition of that word actually means out-called ones. Kind of, if you think about where two or more gathered together in my name, there I'll be in the midst also. That's something Jesus said. So they're not really talking about a building, but people gathered together to glorify God or to pray to God to know His will. This church, or out-called ones, should be doing the will of the Father and the Holy Spirit. When we get baptized, we die to ourselves and we're actually reborn. And you can think of it as the Holy Spirit is deposited in us, kind of like a seed. And as that springs forth, there should be fruits, or what they say is fruits of the Spirit. Jesus likened Himself to a doctor, and people around Him that were sick needed the doctor. The tax collectors, the sinners, they needed to have their sins cleansed, or again going to the doctor to get cleansed of their infirmity. Now let's look back at this Baptist church that walk around with signs that say God hates gay people. Imagine that you go to the doctor and you have a skin condition. On your way to the doctor, you notice in front of the building there's doctors standing in the front that says doctors hate people with skin conditions. Would you really want to go inside that building? I think it's pretty safe to venture to say you wouldn't. And that's the same with people that see the works of that church. They're not going to want to go into that church. Matter of fact, they're storing up wrath for themselves in the day of judgment. That's a pretty rough scenario. We're really supposed to deal with people with kindness, lovingness, long-suffering, and all the other attributes that it outlines in the Bible. Not to mention, we do have to feed the sheep. This means to give them the information that they need for salvation. It doesn't matter if they're a theologian or somebody just walking in off the streets. They need the meat of the gospel, and it's our job to actually give it to them in a manner that they can understand it. This is definitely a hard thing in the world that we live in, but again, we got to look towards the Bible as an example and treat people accordingly.